The Afnan Supremacy Collector's Edition. Let's talk about this in this long term review of the fragrance. Let me start by doing a quick spray. This is absolutely unnecessary because I've been using this for more than 3 months now, and also because I could smell the fragrance from the bottle while sitting away from it. I did not really need to spray it, but this one is just absolutely amazing. So let's get into this. As always, this will be a long-term review for Afnan Supremacy Collector's Edition. Yes, it does come in very fancy packaging. I don't really care much for the packaging or the bottle. What matters for me most is how the liquid inside performs. So let's quickly get into it. And when I say long term review, the reason I do long term is because I do not think that you can just unbox and do a fair impression, do a fair assessment of how a perfume or fragrance behaves. You need to live with it, you need to spend time with it, you need to understand it to share what it means. This one is not as complex as some of the other Afnan fragrances. In fact, this is currently at about 3.5 months since opening this perfume. So we have a lot of strong data on how this perfume has been behaving. The new bottle was a lot of pineapple the moment you spray it. That transitions into ambroxan or ambergris, and that is all there was to it. After about 2 weeks of using it, mm, okay, just one spray. I think the atomizer is overly enthusiastic. Uh, One spray, and it is still hanging around in the air. And anyway, so 2 weeks. This is where it starts to get blended better, and what you see is more the notes go from pineapple to more of a rounded fruity base in the opening, and the projection and longevity at this stage is pretty decent. In fact, I'll tell you this, there was this one time I just put this perfume on, I was walking around and I had to backtrack my steps. So as I walked forward and then came back on that same path, I could smell my perfume lingering around in the air. So the sillage is pretty good on this one from the get go. Um, by the fourth week is where what you start seeing is very decent projection and longevity. So if you're sitting in a car, it'll fill up the car. If you're in a small cabin or a small space, people will be able to smell you. This is about 4 to 6 sprays, maybe 8 at times. I don't know. I just like this perfume a lot, so I tend to overspray it because I want to smell more of it. Not the best thing to do. I know the wisdom lies in understanding that lesser is better, but I am still learning. Anyway, so by the fourth week, it opens with again the fruity pineapple opening. And since I overspray, I tend to get nose blind very quickly. And after about 15 minutes, I couldn't smell it. However, what happens is when you move around and you give yourself fresh air to cleanse your nose, then you can start catching whiffs of this perfume coming up from you. Um, the at this point, longevity, longevity at this point starts getting very impressive. On the clothes, it just goes on and on and on. On the skin, 4 to 6 hours easy. I know some people get beast mode. This is not allowed. But some people call it that. I don't know. I've not gotten 8, 10 hours of longevity on this one yet. So, and we're already at month 3. So, I don't know. Maybe a few months later, it starts getting better. So, that was the 4 weeks. The fragrance profile stays roughly the same. And then around the 6 week mark is where most of the changes start happening. The opening, which is when you immediately after you spray it, um, it gets very dense and the pineapple becomes darker. Um, so, what do I mean by darker? While the new one was very fresh and light and airy, breezy, more fruity, now it is cheerful. Sorry, opening was cheerful. Now it is not cheerful. It is not bright. It is still fruity, but a heavier, more ripe fruit, more sweeter fruit, if I may. And there's a hint of smoke that starts coming in by this time. So it gets interesting, and then that is followed up with fresh oak moss with lingering fruitiness inside the fragrance. And after some time, once you get into the base notes, so this is the heart, the fresh oak moss, and the base notes are largely the metallic oak moss notes that I can get from this fragrance. And these are the ones that just go on and on. And at month 3 is where the it is just something else. Right now, it is smooth, it is rich, it is luxurious. I don't know why I can smell a bit of menthol. Uh, I generally do not get this, but there is something which is that cooling sort of a fragrance is there. That note is there. I don't know where it is coming from. Maybe it's, I don't know. Could be a nose error. Um, but it just feels very very plush. It feels like velvety smooth and soft, like a very finely tuned fountain pen nib that just glides on the paper. Glassy smoothness is is what I would call it, and it is very very enjoyable. I think this, if I may use the word, it smells posh. It smells, I don't know, it just smells calming in a, not in a meditative way, but in a restful way where you don't feel rushed. I think the right word for this is composed. That is, that's the mood that it is inspiring in me right now. This pen is the Jinhao 9019 from their Dadao series. The ink is called Ma from Sulekha. That, my friends, is all I had to say about the Afnan Supremacy Collector's Edition. I will be doing a comparison between the collector's edition and not only intense. When I was looking to buy these fragrances, I personally was very confused. What is the difference between collector's edition and not only intense? The nomenclature does not help anyone. So stay tuned, and this should be out soon. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.